Hey, what's going on, guys? Professor Fred just giving you another quick tutorial on finding the mean of both a grouped frequency distribution and an ungrouped frequency distribution. So really, when it comes to this, it may seem daunting at first, like when you first look at it, but trust me, it is very, very, very simple. So it still follows along the same concept of adding all the values and then dividing it by the total numbers that they are. So let's start off by looking at the ungrouped frequency distribution. So here I have a little bit of an example here with this nice little snapshot. So length of book titles, and as you can see, the number of words and the frequency. And also I left the result because for this one is saying that roughly the mean should be 2.4. So let's see if we can confirm that. All right. So I'm gonna kind of recreate my own little chart here. So we have the number of words, right? We have the number of words, which is basically my random value X. All right. For frequency, as we know, I'm gonna just type in F. So once you see that part, you know that it stands for frequency. And for this part, this will be F times the random value of X. All right. Or it could be the other way around, X times F, however you want to look at it, right? So here's what we're going to do. This is all you do for an ungrouped, right? So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. And for the frequency, we have 2, 9, 2, 1, and 1. Okay. So all we simply do is this. So you see here my little formula there. So all I'm doing is multiplying the frequency to the random value, whatever that number is. So for this, I'm looking at, again, you can do either F times X or X times F. It doesn't matter which way you do it. So I'm going to do 1 times 2, which we all know what it is. 1 times 2 is 2. Same thing here. 2. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me do the cell there. But you can always type it in as well, so you don't necessarily have to click the cell to do it. So, but here you go. 2 times 9. All right. And then here we have 3 times 2. And then the next thing we have 4 times 1. And then the last one we should get 6 times 1, like so. All right. So I pretty much have all that I need, and then really just have to do, well, one last thing. All right, well, two last things. So once you just have seen multiplying both the random X values times their respective frequencies. So again, I'm just going straight across. 1 times 2 gives me 2. 2 times 9 gives me 18. 3 times 2 gives me 6, and you see the rest. Okay, now what I'm going to do is this. I need the total frequency. All right, I need the total frequency, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do with that. All right, so here's the total frequency, simply the sum of these numbers. All right, so the total frequency. So it looks like we're going to have a total frequency of 15. So this is, what is it, 2 plus 9 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1. So we have that total frequency. All right, that is the total frequency. Okay, so the next part would be for me to find the sum of these values, 2, 18, 6, 4, and 6. So again, we simply type in sum. And of course, as you notice, I'm doing this in Excel, but you can easily do it by hand the exact same way I'm doing it. So if you're doing it by hand, all you have to do is just simply multiply across. You know what 1 times 2 is, you know what 2 times 9 is, and any other data set that's similar in this form, where you have the random X value, whatever it is. In this case, we have the number of words, and of course the frequency, and of course it's going to be listed going down in a column form. So doing it by hand is quite simple. It's quite simple. All right, so here we go. So we have the total frequency, which is 15, and the total summation of all of the products here, which is 2, 18, 6, 4, and 6, which is 36. Now the last thing we have to do is simply this. We're going to divide this product, or the sum of this product, by the total frequency, or the sum of the frequencies. So in other words, Here's the approximated mean. All right, and we're almost done. The approximated mean would be this. Let me kind of adjust it so be right next to it. So the approximated mean, there we go. And let me kind of wrap it for you so you can see it. All right, so the approximated mean, again, is going to be the sum of the products, which is, of course, the frequency times the random values. And it's going to be divided by the total frequency. Okay, so simply put, 36 divided by 15, and I should get that 2.4 that was originally given. And that's all you have to do for an ungrouped frequency distribution. So again, make sure that you multiply straight across. Again, whatever the single digits are. So basically it's the x times the f. All right, I know in this way I have it reversed, but you know, you can reverse it back however you want to look at it. But again, 1 times 2 in this case, 2 times 9, 3 times 2, and you see the rest. Once you get the sum of the products, which is 36, divide that by the sum of all frequencies, all right, the total frequency, which is 15. And as you saw, dividing 36 by 15 gives me that 2.4. All right, so that's how you would find or approximate the mean of an ungrouped frequency. Now, what do you do with a grouped frequency distribution? Well, we're going to look at this example. All right, and as you can read it there, I'll read it along with you. The following set of raw data shows the lengths in millimeters measured to the nearest millimeter of 40 leaves taken from plants of a certain species. This is the table of frequency distribution. Calculate the mean. All right, so we're going to approximate it here. Here is the procedure, which we're going to follow step by step, bullet by bullet. All right, so in order to calculate the mean of a grouped frequency or group data, a group frequency distribution, however you want to look at it, you need to find the midpoint of each interval. So in other words, we need to find the midpoint of 25 and 29, midpoint of 30 and 34, so on and so forth like that. All right, next, multiply the frequency of each interval by its midpoint. So we have whatever that midpoint is times its respective frequency. That's to be the next part. Find the sum of all the products. All right, find the sum of all the frequencies, and then of course divide the sum of the products, and there's the formula there. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to type it the same exact way. So here's my lengths, or lengths, however. All right, and we know it's millimeters, so you see it there. I don't need to type that in. So this, of course, is my x. All right, that's my random x. Okay, now here we go. So we got 25 to, what's that, 29. All right, here we have 30 to 34. Let me see if it's going to actually autofill for me. It is not, so yep, so I thought I was going to be able to double. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. That's the thing how it goes. So, but anyway, I'll just type this in real quick. It doesn't take long. All right, so here we go, 45 to 49. All right, here we go, 50 to 54 and 55 to 59. All right, so here we go. So the next column, or better than that, let me type the frequencies really quick. So I'm just do F. All right, so we have 2, 4, 7, 10, 8, 6, 3. Okay. So what they're saying is there's two values that fall between 25 and 29, including those values. 4 values fall within, 30 and 34. So you know how the frequencies are. All right. So next part is the midpoint. So that's the midpoint. All right. Some give it an M or MP. I'm gonna just give it M, so you know where I'm getting these values from. So the midpoint is simply this. So you see here I have 29 or 25 to 29. I need to find the midpoint of that. All we simply do is this. So we have 29, or better than that, let me include it this way. All right, so we have 29 plus 25. I know I did it backwards, sorry about that. All right, divide that by 2. So this is my midpoint. Okay, that is my midpoint there. All right, the next one, it should be based off of this, and I'm looking at the class widths, and you can tell there are 5. So here's a quick little quick little cheat that you could do. So instead of like trying to find the midpoint of each one, so check this out. I have the midpoint of the first one, right? So instead of me going back and say, okay, let me do 30 plus 34 divided by 2, 35 plus 39, divided by 2, so, thus and so, right? Do that manually. Why not? I just take the class width. The class width between these two is 5, just like the class width between these two is 5. So I'm looking at the 25 and the 30, and of course the same thing for 29 to 34. So instead of me doing all of that addition, let me simply add 5 to this 27, which of course becomes 32. Believe it or not, 32 is the midpoint of that interval of 32, 34. So if that's the case, then I add 5 to 32, which would simply be 37. 37, as you can see, is the midpoint between 35 and 39. So since I have those, I'm going to use the special power of Excel to finish this out, so that way it cuts out the work for me. I already know that the class width is 5, so if I just drag it all the way down, there you have it. Now I have the midpoints of each interval. All I did was I calculated the first one, which was 27. I noticed that the class width between the classes is 5. So let me just add 5 to that first point or midpoint of 27, drag it all the way down, and here is your value like so. All right, so my first process, or our first process, is done. We found the midpoint of each one, right? Now, next thing is to multiply the frequency to each interval by its midpoint. So here's what we're going to do. So of course it says x1, but I'm going to write this as fm, excuse me. So I'm going to do fm, but the m of course is the x. All right, so you know what that is, because I didn't want to, the reason why I'm writing it as m, because I don't want this x to be confused with that x. All right, so midpoint. So here we go. We're going to multiply, all right, the midpoint to its respective frequency. So we're going to do 2, all right, times that 27. There you go. All right, here we have 4 times 32, like so. All right, and it should be the same all the way down. Oh, sorry. Let's see. That's what, yeah, there we go. So if you do 4 times 32, of course, that's 128. 7 times 37, that should be our, yep. So you see it right there. So I just dragged it down. So that's B6 times C6. All right, B7 times C7, B8 times C8. So you see how that goes. All right, and of course, you can reconfirm it to make sure that's what it is. And of course, the last one, 3 times 57, should be 171. So, you know, you can think of it as like 150 plus 21. So these are legit. All right, so these are the frequencies multiplied to their respective midpoints. We have those now. So we have that second part. The second part is now done. Now it says find the sum of all the products. So we have to find the sum of these. All right, we have to find the sum. So if we go below here, and it's giving you everything, the average, the count, and the sum. So the sum should come out to be 1720 based off of that. So let me do the sum really quickly. Highlight these, there's the sum, and there you go, 1720. So now we found the sum of all the products. Next thing is find the sum of all the frequencies. So we go back here. Let's find the sum of all the frequencies. And it already gave us the sum, because in the problem it said 40 right here. So that means the total frequency here should be 40. There you go. So a lot of times when it gives you the frequency distribution, it will give you like the total number in the data. So a lot of times you may have to create the frequency distribution, or it's going to give it to you already, and it will give you that total frequency. If not, you can always add up all the frequencies and it will give you the same result. All right, so almost done. So now we've done pretty much 4 of the 5 steps. We're now at the 5th step, which should give us our approximated mean, and I'll type it here. I'll shorten it. So this is the approximate mean. Okay, Spread it out just a little bit. All right, so using this formula, it has, you see that summation, that's sigma there, that uppercase sigma. So the summation of the products, which is this, we found it, 1720. So I'm going to take that 1720, all right, divide it by the total frequency. So that's that summation of all the F's. So the total frequency is 40. All right, so it's going to be 1720 divided by 40. Once we have that value, here you go. That is the approximate mean. All right, the approximate mean of, it looks like the lengths in millimeters of the plants of certain species. So this is, again, the approximate mean of the lengths of plants of certain species in millimeters. That's what it is. And that's how you find the approximated mean, or the mean, of a grouped frequency distribution. Just follow these steps right here and you'll be just fine. All right, so hopefully that helps you and clears everything up for you. So continue to practice and work on, well, basically frequency distributions, and you'll be just fine. All right, I'm out of here, y'all. Peace.